Hey man,
Hey,
how are
Mike,
you?
what's up?
Not too bad, not too bad at all. Ready for another movie topic here?
Always ready
Yeah,
for another topic.
cool.
And let's get right into it since it's right behind you.
Yes,
We're going to discuss the 1987 Barry Levinson film Tin Men
yeah,
with Danny DeVito and Richard Dreyfuss. And I noticed they don't even mention Barbara Hershey,
I know,
which
and
I'm not surprised by. Her role was so small.
it was small. It was rather small. Yeah,
She
especially
was more of
for
a plot device than anything.
yeah. Well, it definitely was a plot. It definitely was that. But
For
yeah,
those of you for those of you at home who haven't seen the movie, it involves two tin men. That's slang for aluminum siding salesmen. Danny DeVito's one, Richard Dreyfuss is the other. They're both, um, they're both salesmen, but in this circumstance, Mike, you're right to call them con men
yeah,
because their sales practices are unscrupulous, would be a polite word for
yes,
it.
absolutely.
Then they're living their miserable lives,
Yeah,
and Richard Dreyfuss's character backs into Danny DeVito. They're both driving brand new Cadillacs that they
yeah,
love.
yeah.
Both are grievously injured, and they each blame each other. And
And
therein starts the feud that fuels the whole movie.
yeah. And the Cadillacs are like the mark of their prestige too, which is one of the big things with this movie. That's why it's such an affront to especially Richard Dreyfuss, who has just taken possession of his Cadillac. And I mean, they always say the car depreciates the most the moment you drive it off the lot.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so so here he is driving off the lot and taking the depreciation right there, and then DeVito, who's kind of distracted, runs right into him. Well, actually, it wasn't. To tell you the truth, for right away, Dreyfus is at fault because if you're backing into a street,
Right,
you're
right.
at fault.
Yeah,
That's
definitely. DeVito's character had the right of way.
yeah, yeah. So, but still, having said that, he was also distracted. But
You
I
know,
think he
I,
was
I should have looked this up.
yeah.
Was auto insurance a requirement at that time being 1963?
I don't know that it really was. There were certain because certain states started making it become mandatory, and some states like Massachusetts was actually famous for being like no fault. So
Mm-hmm.
people would carry they'd carry liability, but they wouldn't carry in certain states, but they wouldn't always carry collision, and collision would protect your car. It would
Mm-hmm.
replace, but like for Massachusetts, they were like, nobody's liable, and so if you got into an accident, you better have insurance because if you didn't have it, since it's no fault, that means whoever has the insurance takes care of their own
Yeah, I mean, so
collision.
here's the accident.
Well,
And when
oh
I first saw this, I'm thinking to myself, why are these guys so upset about this? Just exchange insurance information. And I'm
yeah,
like, oh, it's 1963.
yeah, yeah. So it's I'm not sure, and I don't even I really couldn't even tell you what the state was they were in.
Oh, really? Because that's very important, or
Oh,
at
that
least
was
to
it.
the
Was it
director.
Baltimore?
Yes.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hit me. Okay, yeah, I had forgotten, but yeah, that's right. Baltimore, but
I mean, if there's one thing I took away from that movie, it's that is Baltimore.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's John Waters City too. So that's
I
uh,
wonder if he and Levinson have ever like gotten together and just
yeah.
shared stories of their youth.
Oh yeah, because I'll tell you what, John Waters has incredible stories of Baltimore. I
Hmm.
mean, he grew up on the streets of Baltimore, and he's got crazy stories. But
Well, Barry Levinson has an equal love affair with his hometown. This is one of four movies
yeah,
he
yeah,
made, all set in Baltimore.
huh, huh. No, didn't even realize that.
Yeah, he
But
did Diner,
okay, yep, Diner. I
Avalon.
know. Yeah,
yeah, Diner, Avalon, and Liberty Heights.
Okay, yep, yeah,
And each one was in a different decade. So I
yeah,
don't know which is which. One was in the 40s, one in the 50s, this one in the 60s, and then one in the 70s.
right, right. And all really cool films too. I mean, I like them. Now, was this the first time you actually had gotten a chance to watch this one?
This is the first time I saw it.
So now I gotta, since it is, now I have to ask your opinion. What'd you think?
I gotta say, it was a movie.
Yeah,
Like, okay, high points.
yeah.
The acting between these two is phenomenal. The acting
Oh
is
yeah,
great.
yes. Oh, they're
Um,
perfect.
and secondly, the setting of the period
Yeah.
was just top notch.
Oh
They,
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
not that I'm an expert on 1960s Baltimore,
Yeah.
but everything really looked like it was in the 60s.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I think Baltimore probably carries a lot of the architecture and a lot of the things that are still remaining, and possibly because the city's got a little bit of urban decay going on, but maybe more than a little, but but at the same time, it's nice when cities do preserve the original architecture
Mhm.
or early architecture because but um but yeah, this was definitely a movie of the period. And the other thing is the topic of this movie. I'm old enough that I actually can remember hearing stories of, I remember when I was a little kid, I remember uh tin men going through neighborhoods. Um, they went through, even in Hampton, New Hampshire. They went they went through, and they were trying to sell aluminum siding. So so yeah, and
And
there were always like people warning, like, oh, watch out, those guys are coming through.
and that's one of the problems.
Yeah,
Okay. If I'm at a party and some stranger comes up to me and starts telling me he sells aluminum siding,
yeah,
I'm going to get away as quickly. I mean, that is not an
yeah,
interesting topic to me.
yeah,
And so, likewise, these characters, their jobs, their dreams, it just wasn't interesting to me.
right. Well, I found it fascinating for a number of reasons, and I'll tell you my reasons.
Mhm.
One was, I remember the con thing with aluminum siding salesman, and I
Mhm.
so anything that features a con has always been fascinating to me, and they were definitely con men. And
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, that's what they did. They tried to think of creative ways of how can we sell this aluminum siding to this couple or this housewife or whatever, and they thought of very creative ways. And I mean, there were actually recorded sales of aluminum siding that was being put on brick houses. Uh,
Oh yeah, well, I mean, those investigations that were in the
yeah,
movie, those
yeah,
actually happened.
yeah. It's amazing that that they got away with as much as they did for as long as they did, and they kept it up. That didn't just go away after those, those hearings and those investigations. It still happened.
Oh, it
I
happens.
mean,
I mean, let's face it. At the end of the movie, it very much sounds like they're going to be car salesmen,
yeah, yeah,
which is
or
can be equally a con game.
something. I mean, the movie, because talking about the plot, the movie actually, one of the big aspects of it, or I don't know if you want to just go ahead and
No, no, no. Go ahead.
but
I want to hear your opinion on this.
well, one of the big aspects of the whole thing is that when they get into this spat that is happening behind you, um, they're both really furious with each other. Richard Dreyfuss is even worse because it's his new car, and he's
Mhm.
totally blaming Devito. Devito's blaming him. Uh, Dreyfuss says to him, "I'm going to get back at you. I'm going to get you for this." And Dreyfuss is, or Devito is pretty much saying, "Go ahead, like bring it on." So he is married to Barbara Hershey, that's in the middle there, and she is in the middle because Dreyfuss sets out, and he's something of a playboy, not married, and he sets out to seduce Barbara Hershey, who is very lonely and feeling neglected, and that's a bad recipe for disaster. So he does indeed seduce her. But that one of the really hilarious things is because they're always trying to get something over on the other one. And when Dreyfuss calls DeVito to say, I just screwed your wife. She's in my bed right now. He's shocked when DeVito says, "Oh my God, I'm glad. That's great. You keep her. I've been trying to get rid of her."
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't find anything funny about that. It means that she has been trapped, suffering in a loveless marriage for
Yeah,
years.
absolutely. Yeah,
The one time someone shows an interest in her, it's not because of her. And then Dreyfuss does this childish thing by hanging it over DeVito's head.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that it backfired. That was a shock.
yeah.
That was
Well,
somewhat unexpected. But I'm certainly not going to laugh at any of that.
well, I definitely did because it was more than just that. It was the hilarious part about it is that Dreyfuss is actually he's really screws himself because he's used to doing awful things with picking up women, seducing him, and dumping them. He's neither one of these guys are nice. You have to,
No,
yeah,
no, they're not.
but
They're horrible
but
people.
no, they are, and that the whole business con men are not generally nice. So
No, but they're often sexy. Like compare this with the Sting.
yeah,
Paul Newman, Robert Redford, they're using their wits. They've got nothing.
yeah,
They've got an empty bag they're selling. It's
yeah,
not even aluminum siding.
yeah,
And they're targeting rich people, people that
yeah.
have more money than most.
Well, the
And
Tin
they're
Men aren't.
doing it by their sheer wits and skill.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Well, the
sexy.
yeah. Well, the Tin Men aren't doing it for sure, but Dreyfuss is he's kind of the dapper, sexy. DeVito is not. DeVito's kind of the
I mean, they
downtrodden.
definitely drew the
Yeah,
contrast.
yeah. So that is the contrast. And but as far as like the what I found hilarious, and I think it was hilarious, was the fact that Dreyfuss immediately, because his first thought is, "Oh my God, like he got me," and now he's really furious, and he sets out to dump her. But then when he goes to her place of work to dump her, and he really,
Another like who does that?
yeah, well, Dreyfuss,
I mean, at least you did it face to face, but
yeah,
still.
but he ended up getting his own comeuppance because he ends up in the middle of trying to dump her. He realizes like, wow, I actually kind of dig this chick. And then he's like, well, we don't have to like break up right away because she's saying like, you want me to leave? And he's like, well, you don't have to. And next thing you know, they're living together. Um, so of course the really bad, and then he's trying to get he likes her so much that he's trying to get DeVito to give him a divorce, and DeVito won't give it to him. And back then, you would have to actually get a marriage
Mm.
partner's consent. So he can't marry her, and of course DeVito lets it come out that this was actually a challenge and a way to get back at him. And he's like, he looks at Barbara Hershey and goes, "Who would have thought, you know, that you two actually would have fallen in love?" And she's like, "What?" He tried to, he was trying to get revenge. So it creates this entire crazy mess. But no, they're not likable people, but they're often in movies of this type, the people aren't likable. And these two are definitely not likable people.
And again, I would counter with a lot of con men movies. The
Right.
con men are sexy and you are rooting for them because they're choosing a target that deserves to be caught.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll definitely, because we're going to be doing more of these common
Oh,
movies,
totally,
and
totally.
I'll definitely pull some up that are less palatable. Um, but this is actually a scene from the hearings, and ultimately, both guys end up losing their licenses to sell tin,
Well,
And
doesn't one surrender his almost willingly? Like,
yeah, that
doesn't Richard Dreyfuss's character,
yeah,
BB is kind of fine with it.
yes, because actually they told him you can have counsel, and he actually could he actually had his finances in order, unlike DeVito, who's
Unlike Tilly here.
yeah, who actually has his houses being foreclosed on because of not paying taxes and all kinds of stuff. So he has to give his up forcibly. Dreyfuss basically throws his to the guy and says, "Keep it. I want to go into another line of business. I'm done with this." And the hilarious part at the end of the movie is the two of them, who are so much alike and actually have a lot in common, end up sitting in a car riding together, and they're talking about the next scam. and that's what's I found extremely hilarious, because
I
again,
found it slightly heartwarming.
yeah, yes, it
But
was
at no point did I find amusement.
really, yeah, because I
Yeah.
actually, I mean, there were, I wouldn't say, unlike some movies where I would say laugh out loud, I wouldn't say that about this one. However, there's so much to like for me. There's so much
Mhm.
to like about this movie, including the rows of Cadillacs, because who doesn't like those early
I know. I
Cadillacs?
tried to get that image. I couldn't find one that I was happy with.
Well, that one's not one I'm not happy with. Look at it; it's very
No, I
grainy.
know.
It's, you could not find a good quality image of that, and which is sad, because the Cadillacs are part of the. Oh, that was painful to watch when he started beating up his caddy. That was that's Dreyfuss's caddy that DeVito's devouring there with a.
I mean, that was fully deserved.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Dreyfuss's character is at fault, and he makes the first strike by kicking out his tire. His
Oh yeah,
head.
yeah. There's a lot of things that I
That was
mean,
justified.
well, Dreyfuss was above and beyond the whole revenge thing. It was, first of all, he was at fault to begin with.
Mhm.
Granted that DeVito could have behaved a little better during the traffic accident, but because DeVito is definitely the slimier of the two in some ways.
Not with
Yeah.
Dreyfuss pulling the
Okay.
thing with
Okay.
his
Yeah.
wife. Who
As
does
soon as
that?
yeah, as soon as I said it, I'll pull my words because you're right. I mean, uh, as
That's as
bad as
sleazy as you can get.
yeah, as bad as DeVito is, he didn't seduce another man's wife. He and tried to
Who even thinks that way over a car accident?
yeah, really, it's like it was the ultimate. You talk about a fuck you.
I
That was the
know.
So yeah, that was far, far, far beyond what. Um, but yeah, I still have to say I love the movie. I saw this movie, um, boy, probably almost like when it first came out on VHS. So that's how far back it was that I saw this. But and again, this is one I'm the one that actually recommended us seeing um uh oh Pushing 10.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
kept thinking Tinman, but I actually found, I mean, besides the title of Tin being in the title, the
Mhm.
other thing that I find similar, and that is it's the same deal with a guy going after another man's wife and seducing her. And so they both have the Pushing 10. There's both a
Mhm.
rivalry between two men that are in the same profession, and and there's a woman in commonality.
I,
So
I
yeah,
will say between those two movies,
yeah,
I would judge this to be the better movie.
really, yeah, because I know you
And
did. I know you had said you weren't like a huge fan of Pushing 10. So yeah,
this like I've already said, like Dreyfuss and DeVito,
yeah,
phenomenal actors
yeah.
in this. And I think better than Cusack and Thornton.
Billy Bob, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So they are phenomenal actors. They add a depth to the story
yeah,
that I don't know if the script did,
Yeah.
but the director, Levinson, you can see his love for Baltimore in every scene.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. He made sure he put in great scenes of local places, just historic areas. I mean,
If I
it's
had
a
to describe
homage.
this, if I had to describe this as anything, I would call this a slice of life movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree, definitely. Um, and it also, part of the thing that endears me to the movie too. I grew up as a kid. I was a little kid in
Mhm,
this time period. I mean, I was born in '59, so
mhm.
I was little when this came out. But I mean, all through like the early mid '60s, I was a little kid, and I remember riding around in Dad's car with the and just those '60s cars. They were so damn cool, and the features in them and everything else. Just the way the windows worked. I mean, it was a great time to be a kid in a car. You had these giant bench seats in the back. If
Oh,
you,
I remember the LTD.
oh yeah, that LTD. My God, that LTD with the big bench seat. If you were riding along on that car, and you were wearing something that was fairly slippery, you had to be careful. You almost could slide across the bench if you were driving. I'm talking about. So it
Yeah,
was that it
yeah.
was that crazy of
Th-
vinyl seats and
those type of cars, they're what earned the name land yacht
oh yeah, yeah.
because I can't even conceive of driving anything that big now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and as much as I have a certain reverence for the LTD. I mean, I used to love that LTD, but it was a '72 LTD that he had, but just a beautiful car. But all those cars, I mean, they're so big. I still remember the Jay Leno joke about he goes, I drive a Buick Roadmaster. And the way he used to always tell that joke about how big the Buick Road, and it was a monster car. But and that was when Jay Leno was still kind of a poor comedian when he told that joke. He later got an epic car collection, but back then, but yeah, this is actually the scene at the end, I believe, isn't it?
It
Where
looks like it. Yeah.
yeah, they're riding along, and that's when they, because Dreyfuss has no ride after his car has been towed after the hearings, and the two of them the two of them are in the car together, and they start talking about schemes, and like well, we got to think of something. I'll think of something. Yeah, I know, I'll think of something. And next thing you know, they're actually, yeah, that's a great scene before the
That's right
hearings.
before the hearing. That is
Yeah,
a good scene.
it is, because the two of them are starting to find commonality, and
Hmm.
you could see it coming. It was like these two are going to end up hooking up and
Oh, they,
becoming
they were peas
partners.
in a pod.
Oh my God, yeah, they're perfect. I mean, they would have been very successful as a con team. I mean, whatever they decided to do, whether they were selling cars or whether they were running, they probably were going to go into another con because
Well,
because
I mean, throughout the movie, every now and then, Dreyfuss's character,
yeah,
BB, he like will see a Volkswagen
yeah,
and look
yeah,
at interest with that. It seemed like he was focused on cars because
yeah,
let's
it's true.
face it, those two are nuts about their cars.
Yeah, yeah.
Focused on cars, but also what's the next new thing?
Yeah, and he did keep talking about the Beetle, and he was like that design there, like that's So yeah,
Mhm.
you're probably right. The two of them probably could end up opening up a dealership together, and they
Right.
probably would have been really successful with a Volkswagen dealership.
I got to tell you, when you first recommended this movie, you know what movie I thought this was? And I can't even think of the title of the movie. But do you remember the movie where there was two guys who were used car salesmen,
Right.
and they are across the street from each other?
Oh, is that used cars with Kurt
Oh,
Russell?
maybe.
Yes, I think that's
That's why I should have guessed.
yes.
But
You
that's what I thought this movie was going to be.
Yeah, actually, I do remember that movie, and that movie is actually on my list because I remember watching that movie. I pretty damn sure you were one of the people I watched the movie with, and I remember us laughing. But it's been so many years.
It's been so long that I don't remember the movie hardly at all.
No, I don't either, and I couldn't guarantee it'd probably be fun to pull it up and
Yeah.
have us review that one because I think
Again, we're gonna do any and all movies.
well that the funny thing about that one too is we both kind of remember that one as being a funny movie and a good movie. So if it turns out to be a bomb, we're both gonna have to say, "Holy crap, what the hell were
But
we
I mean, that's
thinking?"
happened to us more than once.
Oh,
We'll pull
sure,
up a movie we haven't seen in like
yeah,
15 years, and we're like, oh my
oh
God, I
yeah.
like this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, Big Daddy, we just got through watching that, and I wouldn't say that, it was terrible, but it wasn't what I remembered. And
Mhm.
I have to say, I was kind of unhappy, with the, uh, having watched it again and thought to myself that it was way worse than I thought it was. But now again, I pulled up two different scenes there, but this is downtown or actually this is suburbia Baltimore. But he had a lot of scenes like this in it where you're riding down the street, and if you're a native of Baltimore, that's
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
that's your jam, man. That's you.
Mhm.
It'd be like you with Portland, the way you are with Portland.
Yep. Oh, totally,
So,
totally. I know the feeling.
yeah, yep. So I mean, if you love your city and you're somebody that actually, really has a feeling for the city you live in, and some people do and some people don't. But but I mean, if you do, which I know you do,
Mhm.
between you and Lisa, you know your bars, she knows the food places. I mean, I think you both know the food places, but no, it's one of those fun things about living in a city that's got a certain air about it, and hey,
Back to the cast.
yes,
I need to give a shout out to John Mahoney in this,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go with a big
right in the
chunk
middle
of
there.
yes, yep. But oh yeah, go ahead if you got anything you want
No,
to add
I
to
just
that.
thought like again, he didn't have a big role,
Yeah.
but he made an impression.
Well, I mean, look at the cast there. Those are character actors that are all around him, all around Dreyfuss, and yeah, they're all guys that when you watch a movie, they're icons in various movies. So again, like I said, I think the movie was well fleshed out. The side people were people uh, you recognized and had some kind of feeling for they're stalwarts in various movies. And Barbara Hershey, even though her part was I wouldn't say small, but relatively small. She played the wife and the seduced woman in the movie. She's played better roles, but it was a good role for her. I liked her in the movie. I thought she was really sweet and charming. And like again, she more or less played the girlfriend, housewife, and so long suffering housewife. But I mean that Barbara Hershey, I have loved her in different roles. Boxcar Bertha, I mean, tons of cool roles, and just
Yeah,
she's somebody
the
that
right stuff, the
oh
natural.
oh my God, yeah. I mean, it
I
just
didn't realize she was in the Last Temptation of Christ.
yep, yep.
I
Uh,
did not know that.
yeah, she pops up in a lot of movies. I mean, she's just one of those she's somebody that you don't have to worry about writing the check to her, or at least back in the day when she was around. I don't even know if she's working now, but I haven't seen her recently. Maybe there's been a more recent role.
She was in Black Swan.
Oh my God, yes, that's right. Why did I, man? That's a I'll have to slap myself for that one because yeah, and I love Black Swan. You've seen Black Swan, right?
I've seen Black.
Okay.
Well, I've I've seen Perfect Blue,
Okay. All right. Okay.
which
Um,
Black Swan is nearly a copy of.
yeah. Um, I'll tell you what, we should do Black Swan. That's another one. That's another one.
Again, like there's so many movies.
Yeah, this was painful for me. The scene when the two caddies hit, because man, those caddies were.
Yeah, how
I
many
have.
classic Cadillacs did they go through in the filming of this movie?
I don't know, but they believe me, between the damage to the cars in the accident, and then later the scene of them beating the cars up. Yeah,
Well, the beating the cars up, like, windows can be replaced, but like
that's
the guy said, if the frame is bent, the car's ruined.
that's true. That's true. Very true. But again, there's Dreyfuss and Barbara Hershey. But um, I also thought that Dreyfuss and Barbara Hershey were cute together. I
They
mean,
were.
as bad as he could be, when it came to her, he was completely soft. I mean, the dude loved her, and she actually turned him around. I wouldn't say he was a saved human being, but but uh, but I think she actually did make him a better human being,
Mhm.
because when
Even if it was only marginally better.
yes, yeah, at least he was going to be better to her anyway. But yeah, so like I said, I did find redeeming things about the movie. Plus, I again,
And again, I'm not saying it was a bad movie. It's a
yeah,
solid movie,
yeah,
but it was a hard movie for me to get excited over or even just drawn into.
right. Well, I'll tell you what, I felt like, first of all, I definitely appreciated the humor. I thought there was a story there, and
Yeah.
I thought there was some humanity there. Even like Dreyfuss's partner, he has the heart attack, and Dreyfuss actually showed a lot of compassion for,
Hmm.
and actually it really bothered him that he ended up the way he ended up. And that
Hmm.
was one of the things that probably had the catharsis moment of, because his partner was like, I'm happy, I'm out of this game, and I'm just, I'm
Hmm.
happy to be out of it. And I think it was an awakening moment for
Well, there's a guy
Dreyfuss.
that's thinking of his family
Yes,
more than
yes,
anything. He was concerned about them. Like,
yeah.
what
He
happens
said,
if I die and leave them nothing?
yeah, because I mean, the last thing you to be laying on a stretcher and thinking to yourself, if I die here right now, my family is screwed. And that's
Hmm.
exactly the moment he was having. And Dreyfuss couldn't even relate to it at the time.
I know.
you know. So I mean, that was one of the really sad things, is at the time he couldn't even relate to it. After he changed, he realized, wow, there's got to be something, more to this. So
You know what joke they squandered?
what's that?
The salad bar. Like
Um,
that guy, one of the salesmen, he's mentioned to Danny DeVito that he found God at a salad bar.
oh,
And
yes,
which is a great setup. That was like,
yeah,
you knew that was going to be Chekhov's gun.
yeah,
And so when it finally happens to Danny DeVito, it's almost like this split second blinking you'll miss it scene.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
And like they could have
they could have.
milked that for, I don't know, give it at
Oh,
least 2 more minutes or
yeah,
something.
yeah. They could have really run with it, but instead of DeVito just saying, yeah, a salad bar. But this what I thought was another both awful and very funny moment, was when they decided to play pool for for Barbara Hershey, that if he won, that he got to keep, that he got the divorce, and that he got to keep Barbara Hershey. And of course, Dreyfuss loses, and she's furious at first, like, you played pool for me, but then he's like, well, I'm still here. So that actually kind of impressed her. She was like, okay, well, he didn't just walk away from her.
She's been living with Danny DeVito for
That's
God
true.
knows
So
how many years. She is not hard to impress.
no, that's true.
I
That's
mean, she
very true.
slept with him after what, like a few hours? She just
Oh
met the guy.
yeah. Well, she actually, that was another thing. She actually set out to sleep with him, because she was talking to a girlfriend prior to getting together with him, and I don't know whether she planned to go all the way of sleeping with him, but she was definitely going on a date with him, and she wanted
Mhm.
that. And of course, when Dreyfuss has to go and call DeVito, DeVito throws her shit out in the lawn, which actually pushes the two of them together. But it ultimately ended up being a good thing. But but again,
Speaking of a good thing,
yes.
the inclusion of fine young cannibals confused the heck out of me. Like, what were they? How did they fit in this movie?
Oh my, it was well, they were the music for the movie.
They
But
were 80s.
I was watching this and I had not seen this movie since VHS. And I'm watching the movie and I start seeing Fine Young Cannibals, and I'm like, whoa, is this who I think it is? I actually I kind of drew a blank for a second, and I'm trying to think, wait, that's the and then it was like, wow, they actually were in this movie. But yeah, yeah,
And
that's great.
I thought they were kind of out of place.
I actually kind of thought it was really cool seeing them again and seeing them in the movie,
I
and
love Fine Young Cannibals,
I do too. I really like the Fine Young
but
Cannibals.
that
So yeah.
style of music in 1960s Baltimore,
No, absolutely not. But they did fit because he always wore a suit. He always had this sort of I mean, maybe it related more to
he
almost like a
definitely had a
40s.
retro look.
Yes, definitely. And so I think that's why it fit. And when I, to tell you the truth, when I first saw him singing and on the stage, it threw me. I was trying to think, who is this? Why do I know this person? And I hadn't seen anything to do with the Fine and Cannibals for a while. So I'm watching and I'm thinking, wait a minute, is this like a doo-wop stage act? I was thinking more like along the lines of, like some kind of a Drifters or something like that. But I mean, I knew it wasn't the Drifters, but yeah, like I said, I thought it fit because of the retro look, and the songs even sounded a little bit 60-ish. So yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed that part of it, but and part of it was just that dude, not having seen them in a while, and also not having seen this movie in a while, it was like, wow, this is cool nostalgia. So I just dug it, But
Mm-hmm.
um, again, this is a movie. I will not go on record of saying that I liked it maybe as much as I did when I saw it years ago. Um, so maybe it doesn't play quite as well, but I would give this a thumb and a quarter, or a thumb and
I'll
a
definitely
half.
give it a solid thumbs up. You could do
Yeah,
way worse for a movie.
yeah.
This
Oh,
movie was lovingly crafted.
yes, and great performances.
Mhm.
I think there's a decent storyline too. I mean, to me, the biggest thing is for me, I maybe just didn't quite love it as much as I did the first time I saw it. So there's that. But as far as I don't, for me, I don't mind that they're reprehensible, or at least for part of the movie, some of them are. I think they both kind of went through a little bit of a change, uh,
They did. They did.
over
I mean,
time.
there was definitely character development,
Yeah. So, and that in itself is a good thing.
right?
So, I
Right.
mean, there's redemption for everyone, it doesn't matter who it is. There's
I don't
redemption
know
for
if I'd
everyone.
go so far as to say redemption.
Well, yeah, that's true. They were gonna get right
They
back.
definitely became better people.
Yeah,
Not that they had far to go, but they definitely became
that's
better people.
that's true. The bar was low for both of them, and I'm not just talking about Devito's stature either. But
Okay, I've got a bit of trivia for you.
sure.
Do you remember the scene
Yeah.
where they're taking the photo outside that woman's house and they try and
Oh,
con
yeah.
them into thinking it's for Life magazine?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know the significance of that house?
Um, I almost think I saw something, but I can't. No, I can't think of. I can't think of
So,
what was the significance. Significance.
so one of the stories I came across is that the guy um, in charge of shooting locations
Yes.
couldn't find the house that fit the specifications that Levinston requested. He wanted
Okay.
this very particular look. And he's going around. He finally comes up to Levinson. Look, I've looked everywhere. I can't find this house, this style of house that you're looking for.
Yeah,
So Levinson gives him an exact address to go to.
really.
That was his childhood home.
Okay, all right. Now that you say it, I think I did read something a while back about that, but no, I had no, I couldn't have pulled that up at
I
all.
thought that was
That's a
a
good
lot of
little,
fun. That
yeah.
factoid.
Well, it is, and it actually is a cool piece of trivia too. So, wow. So that's where he grew up. Damn, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, again, it's just this is a whole love letter to Boston.
yeah, yeah.
Baltimore. Sorry, not Boston.
Baltimore, yeah, Baltimore. Well, it could be Boston too, but but no, I mean, right there, there's another street scene of Baltimore, and again, if you grew up in Baltimore, man, you'd know these streets. You'd know where these people were. So, I just, again, like I said, I think it's a cool movie. I like I like so much about what this movie was about. I like the fact that not only the time period, but the profession that they were in was such a. If you know at all about the fact that that profession was out there and around, and that there were people pulling that scam, it was a cool thing to do a movie about. So that in itself was it. There are certain like um, I mean, there were different salesmen kind of cons that
Mhm.
like traveling salesmen, people like that. But this was something I think they pretty much stayed like mostly right in their own city or the surrounding cities for this one. I don't know how much they actually did travel, but again,
Yeah,
I do,
I didn't look at shooting locations.
yeah. But I'll tell you what, like I knew a guy, I knew an auctioneer. He was a Maine auctioneer. I won't go too far into it, but the guy, he grew up in New York. He was a hustler. I mean, he even hustled when he was in antiques. But that guy lived down in D.C. for a while, and he had a little, almost a kind of a con game going. The DC roofs were pretty much all like aluminum tin roofs, whatever, because
Mhm.
I think there was some kind of a law against like asphalt shingles, probably
Huh.
because of the fact that Washington burned down at one point. We lost lost the White House, and but but anyway, what he would do, the roofs needed to be tarred, I guess. So he would come around with a bucket of tar and mops, him and one or two other guys, and they would do houses. And they when they were doing the house, they'd con some couple into getting their roof done, and they just have a hot bucket of tar and some mops, and they'd be getting paid a lot of money. And they just most of the time they'd be sitting around back like smoking cigarettes in between, and then one or two of them would run around the neighborhood and say, "Hey, we're doing this house, so we're going to give you a discount." and and they were making like huge money, like on just on one street during like a couple of days. So that was quite a little con game they had going, because it was mops and a bucket and of tar. So, but and it was all under the table. So that was the other thing. But that guy was such a hustler, and his story fascinated me. And when I saw this, I was like, wow, it's almost the same kind of deal where you're conning people into buying something they didn't intend to fork over the money for. But yeah, uh, again, like I said, I still give it fairly good marks.
Mhm.
So I am glad I got you to watch it. That's for sure. Because you, I don't know if you would have, I don't know if you would have watched it otherwise, but
Yeah, I got to tell you, if left to my own devices, if it's not a sci-fi or a horror,
yeah,
for the most part, I'm not usually interested.
yeah. Well, see,
There are
that's
a few exceptions to that.
yeah, but well, that's why it's good we make each other watch stuff that you
Oh,
know. We,
definitely. It's one of the things I like about this whole video thing
oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
because I'm definitely getting exposed to movies and actors and directors and
Yeah,
whatnot that I never would have looked into.
yeah. Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, hey, Levinson's movies are great. So I
Mhm.
mean,
He's a
there's
good director. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And again, like Dreyfuss, I love Dreyfuss's the way he puts. There's a couple of Dreyfuss movies that I want to pull up and hopefully soon. But you know, when he puts in a good performance, he's really capable of putting in a great performance.
Hmm.
So whether it's Jaws or this one or you know whatever, so there's I've got a couple on the horizon that I want to pull up and make you watch. So um,
Oh, by the
one of
way,
the
I just read that Rodney Dangerfield was a Tin Man.
oh see that boy that really stands to reason. That wow, yeah, I could see him selling.
And he was investigated by that board, by the Home Improvement
Wow,
Committee.
that's great. That's a boy. I would have loved to have seen. He would have been doing the time. Jeez. Yeah, yeah, that would have been great. Boy, I wish somebody had that on film.
Oh my God.
I don't get no respect. No respect. Not here, not at home. But yeah, like I said, that would have been that would have been epic if somebody filmed that. Geez, they should have put him in the movie because he was still alive and kicking around that time.
He's hilarious. I've loved Rodney Dangerfield in everything I've seen him in.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if he could have provided the depth of character that these roles required.
yeah. I mean, I couldn't have seen him in either one of the two starring roles. I could have seen him as a side tin
Oh
guy,
yeah,
like the guy who was saying he found Christ. You know, it was like,
he would have stolen the show.
yeah, oh yeah.
I,
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
he would just like he would be the shining star,
yeah,
and not a better actor,
no,
but
and
he would
it would
like,
have actually given you more comedy too. It would have given you
oh
the
yeah,
comedy one because I mean, it's like his role in Caddyshack. The guy was friggin' hilarious. Caddyshack, we talked about this a little while
mhm.
back, but Caddyshack, for me and you were actually the one that was saying for you it didn't play as well as it did when you first saw it, and
Mhm.
I thought the same thing. I still love the movie, but not the same way. But Rodney Dangerfield and Ted Knight, those two made that movie for me. They were just,
Yeah, yeah, they were the only reasons to watch it in my mind. And
yeah,
now that I'm thinking of it,
yeah. Now, when looking back on it, I mean, I love Bill Murray, and there were some definitely some funny scenes with him, but it was to me it was Rodney Dangerfield and Ted Knight. The those two, the rapport between the two of them, the comedic timing was just terrific.
yeah, I'm
Um,
gonna have to choose Back to School for one of our movies at
oh
some
man,
point.
yeah, yes, yeah, that's a fun. There's
And,
some
and that's another one that may not live up to my memory.
yeah, yeah, same here. But there's a few scenes that I mean, I can sort of pull up from that myself, and that actually made me laugh. And there's a couple of other Rodney Dangerfield ones. What's the one I will not be able to pull up the title, but the one where his he gets he gets challenged to like lose weight and he has to reform in order to inherit some money. And they figure there's no way he's going to be able to get the money, and he's actually like going on a tear because he's trying to get this money. So he's actually doing, but he's people are like trying to sabotage him. That one
I
actually,
remember that. I can't for the life of me remember what the movie was.
yeah, I'd have to look it up because it's been so long, and it was I think it's one of his lesser ones, but there were great scenes in it. There were I remember funny scenes in it. So yeah, we'll have to. We definitely got to do some Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, again, we get into these discussions all the time for
Yeah,
a little behind the scenes information. Like when the cameras aren't rolling, we are still talking
yeah,
movies.
exaczly, exactly. Well,
We're
you
still going,
start.
oh, you know what? I should pick this and this and
Yeah,
this.
you started it. You brought up Danger. You brought up Dangerfield. So but no, I believe me, I hear you. It's not hard to get us off track. That's part of the fun and the funniness of us two talking. But
Mm.
anyway,
But
yeah,
getting us back on track,
yeah,
we may have talked this movie out.
I think we did. I definitely do. And the next pick is going to be yours.
Next
Uh,
pick is
th-
mine.
this one was mine, so for better or worse. And so yeah, you're going to have to come up with another one, and whatever. Um, it's going to be, yeah. This is yeah. So let's see what you come up with.
Yep, yep.
I
I'm
was
still
I was
thinking.
trying to think of the date of when that was going to be, but I was thinking the fourth, but it's not the fourth.
No, it's past the fourth.
Yeah. So is it past the fourth? Really?
Yeah, because the fourth is Thursday.
Okay. Yeah,
I,
but this.
little
Yeah.
people at home don't want to hear us talking about our
I know they don't, but that's the hilarious part. But
schedule.
so yeah, the dates mean nothing to them, but because we're a little ahead when we're filming this anyway. So, but anyway, it'll be your pick, so you come up with
I'll come up with
whatever
something.
whatever you. Oh, I know you will. You never disappoint
I've
me.
got like 4 movies duking out in my head right
I
now.
wish I only had four. So yeah, believe me, I could get caught on like 5, 6 movies right now if you said, okay, pick a movie right now. That's how. So the more I think about it, but anyway, yes, we did. I think we did kind of wrap this one up. I think we got to the cool portions of this movie, and again, I have to say, I still love the movie.
Like I said, you can do far worse. It's a well-made movie.
Yeah, I think if for anyone that has not seen the movie, I don't think even if you haven't seen the movie, I don't think that movie would be ruined by our discussion. Sometimes we do spoiler alert the movie to the point that if you've never seen it, it probably would be like, oh my God, these guys. But for
No,
this
but
movie,
if you're younger than us,
yeah,
you may want to look up a little bit about Cadillac culture and aluminum siding
yes,
before you see the
yeah,
movie.
yeah, because both of them, if they were products of, I mean, the Cadillac culture, especially with the big fins and all that. That was late 50s, early 60s, and into the early 60s. The fins kept getting bigger. Um, I'm not a huge car guy. I mean, I love my cars, but I'm not the car guy, say someone like Jay Leno is. But the Cadillacs were just so cool. They still are. I love Caddies. Um,
I don't know if I've seen one recently.
Nowadays it's more like the the big Cadillac Escalade or something like that, but they're still cool. You get in a Caddy, man. There's something about being inside of a Caddy. It's so sweet. Nice ride and just plush, and there are cars that are more plush, but they just have a style of their own. I have to say, the Cadillac Escalade, man, that was Tony Soprano's car. but but yeah, they're just cool. So anyway, we have wrapped this up. But yes, look it up if you have never seen the movie, check it out. It is a fun watch, great performances. Um,
But more
and
importantly, like and subscribe.
yes, seriously, like and subscribe. We need the support, people. If anyone that's watching, especially if you're still in here now, please, we can definitely use the support. We're trying to do this. We're having fun ourselves. We would do it if it was just nobody watching, but maybe there isn't anybody, but but there's nobody out there. But no, again, like I said, please, we can definitely use the viewership, the thumbs up, it all helps the algorithm, and just I hate saying those words, but anyway, yes. So we'll be back, for better or worse. We're going to be back next week. So,
Indeed.
but Dom, I had a blast. I hope you did,
Fun as
and
always.
I'm
I
actually I'm
can't
anxious to
wait till next week.
yeah, same here. And I'm anxious to see what you pick. So It'll be awesome. I know, one way or another. So thanks, folks. Dom, thank you. I had a
Thank
great
you.
time. But see you next week.
See y'all.